Okay, 4:30. This is the January 26th meeting of the Waterboro Budget Committee. With no further ado, I think we will go right into the presentations. Matt, you mentioned. Go ahead.
Sure, yeah. So Shirley has come back in, our assessor, so I'd like to see if we can sneak her in real quick to go over the assessing portion. In your document, it will be the last page.
She doesn't have a paper.
I don't have it, but that's
Okay, Julie, fire away.
Do you want to start talking?
Yeah,
or
so-
do you want me to?
Go ahead, start.
Okay,
She doesn't
I
have
don't have a
papers.
copy.
There you go.
Yes, okay, so do we want to go over what's in here first? Which
Yeah,
I think
we'll start right at the beginning.
we really didn't change anything. I think we lowered the training and travel, if I remember correctly. So I don't know what you want me to really discuss in this. It's about the same as last year. And I think what we had differently was I had so many days in there for myself and then so many days for extra help, which I used all those days myself. I did everything. So I put a similar amount in there for this year. Can you show me what we had last year, Laura? 73.5. I get, it's a little lower.
73.5 was in last year, 72 this year.
Yeah, 73.5.
Was last year.
Yeah.
This year was 72.
Yes.
This year.
So, yeah, so we went back to 72 on that.
Pretty straightforward stuff.
Well,
So
it's the same.
what we did not include in the assessor's budget portion, and we had a recent discussion with the board a couple weeks ago, was regarding the differences we have with what Shirley has assessed for properties versus what properties have been selling for.
Okay.
And the challenges that we're seeing. Shirley had just brought one to me a few minutes ago just to give us an example as a talking point for tonight. And one of the things we mentioned was we haven't had a revaluation for many years. And to start working on cost files and to really diving into that, to getting out in the field, taking some pictures and sketches, looking at parcels and seeing where we're at today. One of the properties that sold just recently for $1.5 million, we had it, assessed 460 something?
In the fours, so.
And so we're off considerably, and that's what's putting our ratios off, and that's why we're chasing us every year come commitment time, and when she's looking at where we're at with the state.
And what's that percentage we're supposed to be at before the state starts penalizing?
70%, and we're on some, I think Lake Arrowhead area, we're down in that range. And that's what we're seeing is 2 years old. Everything at the state runs a couple of years behind. And so every year we get to commitment time and we just raise 10%. We did 12 last year across the board, which over time that creates inequity because lakefront property will raise more than others. But what I'm seeing even in this year that we don't have sales analysis for, sales are twice as much as we have them assessed for, but twice as much and more. And that's on almost all of the properties. So at some point, we need to either do a full-blown reval, which is maybe $70 to $100 a parcel. So it's expensive. We've got close to 5,000 parcels. Or what's more important to do as soon as possible is an adjustment to cost files, which is a sales study on all the different areas of town and even different types of buildings. You'll do a study on single-story buildings, and I know ours calculate far below. If we have a new ranch-style home being built, the system won't calculate it maybe to 2/3 of what it should be. So it's a process to go through, but we can do that. I can do that, and probably the cost is $20,000 to $25,000. We have sketches in the system, but not for every building. We don't have you never had pictures since the last reval. No pictures were put in. So we need to get that updating done. And I think just a thought process, I would, rather than doing the full-blown reval, I've done them, I've got 4 on my plate to do now, but what you find is a lot of the properties haven't changed. The older properties, they're like they were. You go out and you look and you measure and, verify it, and they haven't really changed much. But the most important is to update those cost files. It's called an in-house adjustment or analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And then at least, because if the way it's going now, we're going to say we need to raise those values again. And that, again, if we do it across the board, it's more inequity for everybody. So, but those are 2 recommendations to think about.
Mm-hmm.
The cost file adjustment, so we can at least calculate accurately. And up to date, I should be able to get us as close to 100% as I can. Or the full reval for a few $100,000. So those are the options to think about.
And who pulls the trigger on these options?
We need to figure out ultimately how it works within the budget.
Mm-hmm.
And see when we can put that in to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have to think about what we're having for issues for the inequities and across the board,
Mhm.
that to make sure that we aren't making these adjustments every year of 10 to 12%.
My question is, say she did the price adjustment, who makes that decision? In other words, I'm trying to figure out where the cart is, if I'm in front of it or behind it. Does that come in her budget proposal, or is that something she needs to get done by Dennis and the crew up here to give her the okay to do it?
So we would have to budget those dollars if we're going to do a
Yes.
cost file. So
Right.
so that would start with you, we'd start here, and then put that into the budget. It may not be this year in the budget, but we need to be really thinking about that, because if she goes this year and we do the budget process, and then she sits down to do the commitment, and correct me if I'm wrong on some of this from the assessing
Okay.
portion, but when she sits down on the commitment and looks at it, the commitment is on Shirley. She is the one that sets that.
Right.
She has historically come to the board to get the blessing from them, to talk to them about it as well. And, correct?
Yes.
And to get the feedback from the board overall.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'll make that commitment. But it's under her responsibility as the
Right.
assessor to do that. So the budgeting of it, whether we want to do a full reval, I think we're not thinking that was the direction to go. We were actually thinking about updating the cost files.
Yes.
And to do it that way. That's what I think the board was in agreement with the other day, is it makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking at the whole budget number this year, we didn't plug it in because it's been a work in progress, and this is the last meeting we had last week, or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. So, it's not in the document you have in front of you
Okay.
currently.
And the cost adjustment, forgive me for being slow, is that final number that she comes up with for my house or anyone's house is going to have a direct impact. That's going to be our taxable assessment. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, so pretty big deal.
Yeah.
it is. And what we want is it to be fair and equitable to
Sure.
everyone.
Mhm.
And I've seen towns, I worked in one town that their ratio was 85% for their reimbursements for homesteads. So everyone got 85% of the $25,000 homestead exemption
Mhm.
and of the veterans, which I've seen towns leave it that way. Usually people are confused when they see that, but they're also assessed at 85% of what their value really should be.
Mhm.
So, it evens itself out in that respect. But if we bring values up, if we do all of that, bring values to where they should be, and it should be fair as opposed to just raising across the board, that's more of my concern. I don't like doing that, and I think we've done it here 3 years in a row. If we're not in a market like we're in now, you could go several years with no adjustments, but it's gone so far off with the way sales have gone that,
Mhm.
we really need to do something with it.
So how will this affect the senior freeze for the 65 and older? How will that affect?
They will still
theirs?
have they'll still have the stabilized amount.
They will? Okay.
Yes.
Even
Yes.
though the valuation went up.
Yes.
Great state of Maine, that's what those guys voted on. So that's why I'm applying every year.
Let's see how long it
Yes,
lasts.
me too.
Yeah, I guess
Well,
someone's
I
got to
think,
pay for that.
I believe they'll probably change that.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of work implementing it this year, and
Yeah.
my guess is it will change
I would think.
for next year. But it's not a bad program the way it is.
No, but who's paying for it?
Yeah, well, they're us in some respect.
Did you get a lot of applications?
We got, I think, close to 400 applications. And Vanessa, that we hired, when did we hire her? In the fall? October. She's actually processed all of those. I think she's waiting on information on 5. And out of all of those, I think they all qualified, but 2 or 3.
So how many days is she with you?
She is here 5 days a week. She, I believe, works in assessing. I'm here Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so she works with me those days, and I believe she works in
She
assessing
will.
Thursday.
And then other days, or
And
other
other
times,
days,
if
yeah.
it's not that busy, she'll
Yeah.
go in and get work done.
Yes.
But Fridays, if it was short, she's out front.
Yes.
So, it's not in the budget, but I'm gathering that you would recommend that we put something in the budget under
Well,
assessing.
Either $20,000 or $25,000 in that ballpark, and we do as much as we can
Okay.
to start moving forward with those files and
Okay.
updating them, so that she can get out into the field and do that work,
Okay.
which will save us the $300,000 or $400,000
Yes.
to do a full reval.
Right.
But we can plug that in there as a questionable, and as you're going through, and because obviously we know there's other expenses in this budget that
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot of them.
Well, how do you want me to handle it? I would assume then we'd have to make a motion to put the 25K in there under whatever,
We can certainly put it in there, and then you can take a vote whether you want to keep it in there or not for now. And then if you want to take it out, we can.
okay, all right. But that way, we sort of earmark it, it would be in there, so that when,
So that we have it, we'll see it again when you take a vote in a couple weeks, or whenever you go back to this
Okay.
line.
Okay.
all right. So do I have a motion to put those dollars in there for the price adjustment?
Yeah, so I motion to add the $25,000 into the assessment budget.
Second,
I'll second.
discussion? Vote?
And that's only to put it in the document, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you. So you'll update that sheet too. We'll have to update that sheet.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have to just create it, we'll have to figure out which budget line
Yeah,
to create
that's
for it in the code line.
Yep.
And we'll put it in, and we'll reprint that sheet for you for next week then, as well.
Okay. You're off the hook for now.
Yay.
Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Code enforcement.
Yes, sir. As you can see, a lot of my numbers, there's a slight increase in there. We cut in a couple of different areas, but the slight increase that you'll notice in here, you'll notice in the years past, there isn't a line item or there isn't a cost value in there for mapping. Any of you folks that use our GIS system and the tax maps know how horribly inaccurate they are. So this $5,000 is it would like to be appropriated to continue a contract with Sebago Technics to make those mapping repairs. I had done some research in the years past, and there's been some exorbitant amounts to repair these maps. And where we entered in a contract with Sebago Technics just a month and a half ago to start making some of those repairs. They wanted to do it on an incremental basis. They're looking for a contract about $9,000 annually. And over a period of 4 or 5 years, we should be in very good shape. opposed to the $80,000 that we were quoted for a flyover.
Dang.
So, and then somebody still needed to do the GIS work. So it was like a three, it was over there, our current GIS provider. It was like it was a $400,000 project to complete the mapping update. In Sebago, technically, you kind of get in on the ground floor with them. They're just opening the GIS department.
Okay.
So- And they also, and they can do it much more cost effective because they also do a great deal of surveying in this area, so they have a lot of the information.
We thought it was an opportunity to save some money long-term for what we knew we needed to get accomplished. The GIS thing, people are using those all the time online, and the lines are
Way off.
way off that
Sure.
you can't, yeah, so
That's-
so,
So if I understand you correctly, then it's basically a 4-year program.
Correct.
Will the $5,000 stay there indefinitely, or is this your 4-year plan?
It depends. It's my 4-year plan. It depends on if we find another need at that point. Or maybe there's something else that the town would like to, another option that the town would like to explore. Once it's repaired, I'm completely fine with it. I'm also sharing this cost with assessing because they need the GIS as well. And a lot of the people, that's why you'll see there's only, I mentioned $9,000, there's only 5 in there in my budget. I'm not sure why I'm taking the hit on that, but it's my project, my project. And the difference between the admin, finance, and my original is roughly $2,000. You'll see that comes out from my overtime line. I don't use the alternate CEO very often, so that we saw that as an opportunity. That's what a lot of that funding is based for. So we saw it as an opportunity to cut some finance.
And you had mentioned, so the 3,500 I see in Shirley's budget is going towards your
That's correct. Yeah.
$9,000.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Yep.
What is the plotter, Matt?
The plotter. The plotter is a printer that we purchased, and that's kind of a strange account. What we do there is we charge for 24 by 36 prints, and it helps us pay the machine off and supplies. So this is in case we don't have any inquiries or need for the machine.
So does the plotter come under leases? Are you leasing it, or
We are leasing it.
you're leasing it right now?
Yep.
But that doesn't come out under the lease line?
No.
No, okay.
it's been used a lot by contractors coming in and
Oh,
scanning prints, and if developers are submitting plans to Mike, then they print them here versus having to they don't go to Zippy copy anymore.
Oh,
They
okay.
do them here, they charge them, and it covers its expense.
Okay.
And I think Dave has a little better idea because he set that lease up, but it was like a 3-year lease, it was like a $7,500 machine. The first year, we collected almost $2,500 and put that towards the machine. So when you see that line, it's possible, but that may come back. May come back to the town, that is, but the funds will be unused. But
Okay.
this is in case.
okay. Does the overlay have anything to do with you too?
I don't believe so.
It should be 0 in overlay, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was listed here on the old expense report from July to June, and I didn't know what an overlay is.
It's the abatements, I think.
Yes, I believe
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I asked the same question a couple of months ago.
Any other questions? Pretty straightforward stuff. I mean, really, other than, you take that Sebago techniques out of it, techniques, whatever.
Pretty much the
You're
same.
right
as-
where you're flat, so that's
Yeah.
good. Any more questions?
Excellent. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mike.
No problem. Enjoy your evening.
All right, next up is the planning board, which it looks to me it's up $1,000 and change, $1,200 or so, which looks like
Legal is one of them.
legal's up 1,000. Okay.
Training.
And that was a recommendation of the board to add legal into, to the planning board. And I think we put it in the ZBA too, you're going to see it pop up. So that, because the committees have some issues that they may need to address, but they have direct funds within their budget lines for any legal services.
Okay. So let me just, for the sake of consistency, we'll just go down through it quickly since no one's here. They're requesting for, the total budget is $5,100, up from $3,850. Personnel services stays the same, $3,000, just the same for the board members. Employee costs, $250, which is the training that we just spoke. Supplies are right where they've always been at $100. The legal is up to $1,000, and the advertising is $750. So,
And I think the thought for the $1,000 was to make sure they had direct access if they had legal issues that came up. Now, certainly, I guess we could put that to $500 because we still have a legal line that we could draw off them as well. But so we put $1 in. You're probably getting 3 hours for $1,000,
Roughly.
maybe 2.
And a half.
Yeah, unfortunately, but it is what it is.
So the training, is that a one-time training, or is that, do they have like ongoing training that they have to do?
That's the online one through Maine Municipal, I believe.
So it's-
If
okay.
They can do for planning boards. We're setting one up right now that we're trying to get launched for the planning board through Jensen Baird, our attorney that we use, and they're hopefully going to come out in the next month or so and do a class here for a couple hours. They do another one through Zoom, through Maine Municipal, but they start at early afternoon, and it's hard, I guess, for some of the board members to get into, is what I understand, because it goes until 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and that's when it starts at 4:30. So if they started it later, they're going till 10 or 11, and it just wouldn't work for their program, I guess. But
They do it in Zoom now?
they're doing one in Zoom, yes.
Oh, okay.
There's one coming up in another month, and I think there's
'Cause
several.
I did that in person.
Oh, did
We
you?
went up to Augusta.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I think you can still go. I think you can still go there to do them, but
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
okay. Any other questions? Planning department. What is the planning department?
So works with Mike as well.
With Mike and
So Angela.
and Angela.
So Angela is the administrative assistant for the 40 hours you see here.
Okay.
That's in there for line 268 salaries, which also includes a part-time planner, which we've pulled money out for, if need be, for Southern Maine.
Yes, planning and development.
Southern Maine Planning Development right now. We have tried to hire a planner. We actually had a conversation with Lee J the other day of trying to do a partnership with the Margaret Chase Smith School for an internship program as well for a planner. I don't know if that's something we'll be able to make work, but that originally was $80,000 for the planner, but we cut that last year. It was $80,000, that was down to $40,000. We have not had success in finding somebody yet. I'm not sure if we're in the wrong price point for that, for $80,000, but we have not had any luck yet since Tom Marshall left.
Now, does he go to all the planning board meetings and that?
Say that one more time?
Does Lee J go to all the planning board meetings?
If needed,
Only if
and
needed.
when needed, if or when needed. And if we don't need him, he'll provide memos or documentation for us and
Okay.
feedback, just like any of the, I know Mike Frazier at the fire station will send memos and documents as well. They look at plans at a time. They have staff review meetings here for planning purposes, but if need be, he was scheduled to come this week, for example, to a workshop, but because of the snowstorm last night and his travel time, they decided to postpone it. I think until February 8th, I believe, is when the next proposal is for the meeting. But it's, I guess, if we need him here all the time. And we're sharing it with Southern Maine Planning and Development, so they have multiple different towns they're working with. So,
All right.
and some of it, Mike Gilpatrick is perfectly capable of doing some of that work, depending on what it is.
Under salaries, what is EDC?
Economic Development Committee?
Thank you.
So that committee is starting back up again.
Yes. We're trying.
Anyway, for sake of consistency, we're talking total budget of 101,113, which is basically $100 and change less than last year. Salaries are up, basically the $1,500 you were just talking about. Overtime is up 500, and then retirement's down. Employee costs are a little less. We cut the travel out, thanks to the Zoom meetings we were just talking about. Everything else looks pretty much the same. So I think we beat this enough. Why don't we call this good and move on to the ZBA? Zoning Board of Appeals, they're looking for $25.50, which is up significantly from the $1,300 from last year. Salaries are $800, just for the, they budget that for, because they're an as-needed committee.
Correct.
Training, $250. Okay, $50 per member. Contractual services, so legal is $1,000.
That's the-
So there's a difference. And the $500 in advertising. So $2,550 total.
And the advertising could be next to nothing if you don't have a meeting.
Right.
But if you have meetings, then you have to advertise for them. But it's all depending on what's going on.
Any questions on ZBA?
Overtime, how do they accumulate overtime?
There's no,
No, I know.
Yeah.
I was looking at one of the things Julie was sending, the expense reports that she sent out on Friday, and it looked like they were in the red at
This-
one point.
For ZBA?
Yeah.
because they probably had more, because of the meetings they've had. They've
More
had
meetings?
We've had, well, you've been on now for what, a month?
Since December,
We've
we had
had-
2 meetings in December.
Yeah, so I think
Oh, okay.
we've had a lot of ZBA this year in comparison to other years, but
Oh, okay.
we can look at that though too. So I think I believe it was in the red because of that.
Okay. Okay.
Because as you see, there's not a lot, obviously that budget line is relatively small, so you start throwing 5 or 6 meetings at it, which we don't usually have. Well, we historically haven't.
No, usually they have like, what, 1 or 2 a year or something?
I think they've gone times where they haven't had anything.
Oh, wow.
You know.
Okay. Good.
Okay. If there are no more questions,
I think we did them all.
we've gone through the agenda pretty quickly, so why don't we use the time to do some voting? I would suggest for ease of memory, why don't we vote on the items that we talked about today, with the exception of, should we hold off on the tax assessor vote until we have the final document with that
I
$25K
would.
in there? But we can certainly do the other items that we've talked about today, vote on them. Pretty straightforward stuff, so. Having said that, do I hear a motion to approve the 107,644 for Department 45 code enforcement?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? I think it's pretty straightforward. Vote, yay? Code enforcement is done. Planning board, again, a motion to accept the $5,100 for Department 60 on the planning board.
I'll motion that.
Second,
I'll second it.
and if there's no discussion, a vote. Yay. Planning department, again, a motion to accept the 101, 113 for Department 62 in the planning department.
I'll motion that.
And a second,
I'll second.
and if no discussion, we will vote.
Can I
Yes?
ask one question?
Sure.
With the EDC, if that doesn't form, does that stay in this line?
It will
Or does
just go to-
back into the general?
It would move to general at the end of the year.
Okay.
Unless it's a carry forward account
Mhm.
that's designed to stay in those specific ones, it'll go to general fund, surplus, or whatever, undesignated funds.
Okay. Vote. And ZBA, a motion to accept the 2550 for Department 65. Knock yourself
I'll
out.
make a motion.
Good job.
to accept.
Second,
I'll second.
and if no discussion, vote. Yes? That's right, someone has to
I
abstain.
abstain.
He's on the ZBA.
Well, that's good.
And again, once we have the document with the price adjustment,
We'll have that to you next week.
you can vote on this next week. Okay. Moving backward.
I'm gonna do last week's, which is IT.
Whatever you guys like. Can't do anything if I can't find it.
This page, it's the center page.
I can't find it.
What are you looking for?
I looked for the IT one. Right there, I see it. IT.
Okay, so we can start on last week, the stuff we went over last week, starting with the IT department. And, okay. That's right, Trio and Paychecks were the big ones for this
Correct.
increase. Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the 173,480 for Department 32 IT?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? Again, Tom, for your benefit, the reason for the large increase is the Trio, which that's gone up, which is the software the town uses to do their business, and then Paychecks, they got
We're going to
HR / pay.
Yeah,
payroll
online
company.
software program for doing payroll and HR accountability.
Okay, shall we vote? Yes? Here we are.
Were you voting yes, Diane?
Yes.
Okay.
Public safety. And really, public safety, all things considered, I didn't think was,
Not much higher.
it's about as flat as you can make it. Here's like a couple of years ago when there was a new ladder in there. Of course, that was capital, but still, it was big.
Yeah, right.
And again, okay, so do I have a motion to accept $1,643,110 for Department 70, Public Safety?
I'll motion to accept that.
I'll second.
And discussion? Again, trying to remember the biggies.
Basically, 3% was the COLA across the board we calculated.
Right.
And that would have had corrosion repairs on engine 4.
Right.
Those are the big ones for that one. Well, I say big ones, those are the identifiable ones.
Right. You know, obviously diesel was up 4,000.
The utilities, yeah.
The Google email is a biggie.
Yes.
But still, I think all in all, it's a good job keeping things alive. Vote. Here we are. Library. Again, there's quite a few, Julie was asking for quite a bit more than usual, but she's increasing her hours.
I gave you the corrected sheet in the library.
Oh, I got a new sheet, that's right, I got the wrong one. Okay.
Her hours adjusted from 32 to 40.
Right.
To do additional administrative work. She has also included, was the shed in this one, or was that the CIP?
That's going to be the
That's
CIP.
CIP.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So
Oh, and the Dropbox.
the Dropbox is here, not CIP,
Correct.
correct?
Yep.
And that would be, Tom, where you drop your books, that
Yeah.
thing, the bottom's all shot on that, so we need to replace that. So do I have a motion to accept 152-112 for Department 50, the library?
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
And without further discussion, vote, yes? Okay. Hydrants is a toughie. Yes. Yeah, that's just seconds and seconds. Do I have a motion to accept $61,000 for Department 77 hydrant rental?
I'll motion.
Second.
And a vote? And last but not least on this sheet, Ross Corner Fire Department, which according to Matt is the best deal we've got going. Do I have a motion to accept $99.93 for Department 79 Ross Corner Fire Company?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And vote? Okay. Why don't we do the town clerk? Or actually, should we just go through that whole sheet? Look at the town clerk. Which again, at 82,000, just basically flat, just up a little bit from last year, basically in the supply line. So do I have a motion to accept the 82,050 for Department 20, Town Clerk?
I will motion to accept.
I'll second.
Which number did you do, John?
Excuse me?
I wasn't listening. Which number did you?
This is Town Clerk,
Yeah.
Department 20, and it's
B or
82,
C?
82.
Okay.
I went with the town administrators. Vote? Where do we vote? I've lost track of where the hell I
I think
am.
you need to, I think you need to vote on that one. Did you already vote?
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
Okay,
Yep,
so
they
we're good.
voted.
So Town Clerk is good. Did we vote on Town Clerk?
I wrote you did.
Okay. I'm not gonna
I
argue.
thought I
with you.
raised my hand, so.
Leases, do I have a motion on the, really the leases are, they're up.
We have the ladder truck this
The
year.
ladder truck is the biggie,
And
I
then,
would think.
yeah, and then we'll have, and on the, I don't know if you have that in front of you, but, yeah, the ladder truck, this will be the last payment of the trash truck this year, but we're hoping that we're gonna be able to move that into future trash trucks that we need to reorder. But ladder truck,
Okay,
73,218 in principal, and then 15,000 and 15,921 for interest.
okay, so that's the reason for the increase, so not surprising. So do I have a motion to accept 460,550 for Department 13, leases and debt service?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
And without further discussion, a vote? And then we go back to general government. Which I must have, there we go.
I think I missed. Oh, okay. Tax collector and treasurer's, but
Yeah, he's looks like.
go on, okay.
Actually, and the general government was actually down. Due primarily to splitting your salary, I would think, Matt.
Both of ours.
Yep, you and Laura both, so. Do I have a motion to accept 521,337, Department 10, General Government?
I motion to accept.
I will second.
Very good. And a vote? And that one just did. Insurance. Did we go over insurance? Okay,
First week.
therefore insurance is down a little over last year, so do I have a motion to accept the 938,829 for Department 15, insurance and benefits?
I will motion to accept.
I will second that.
Very good, and all those in favor? Nay?
Nay.
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 Did I preempt your discussion?
Like what?
Oh, you voted no. I wanted to, sort of curious, what's the bug?
It's the buyout.
Okay.
I just don't agree with the buyouts.
Which I had never heard of until last year when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Having worked in the private sector my entire career, I'd never heard of that.
I
So,
never had either.
but I guess
I
it's-
just don't agree with it. So.
Okay,
that the insurance? Is that where you?
Yes.
The buyouts?
Yep.
And just, I don't know if Tom was here he wasn't here for that first week, but the buyout that she's referring to is if someone is a full-time eligible employee to have insurance, if they opt not to take our insurance, we pay them X dollars, which if they see that, it saves us money at the end of the day. Because otherwise we pay it, if a single employee, then we pay the full price for that.
Yeah.
But we can't control whether they take or not, they take insurance with us or not, or not. But if they can get on insurance elsewhere, then it saves us money, because otherwise they could be jumping on for no reason.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you, so if someone has a spouse on their plan, do we have them pay a premium, not a premium, but a stipend for having the spouse on if they can get insurance someplace else?
If the spouse can,
Yeah. I know that when I had insurance and
Yeah.
he was also offered insurance, if I carried him on my policy, it was an extra $300 in addition to the premium.
yeah.
If I didn't take it.
But if I didn't take the insurance and went on his, they would pay me a stipend for not taking. So it went both ways.
Yeah, we haven't, we pay 50% right now, currently, for family if they come on. Or employee pays 50% of that premium cost.
So the people that are taking the buyout, do they have other insurance?
They have to prove,
someplace else?
they have to prove that they have insurance.
They do.
Okay, well, we move on to tax collector. Again, that budget is down, the proposed budget is down from last year. So do I have a motion to accept 51,534 for Department 25, tax collector? Which is basically salary.
A motion to accept that.
I second.
All those in favor? Treasurer. Again, up a little bit, and it is basically just a salary. So, do I have a motion to approve $81,672 for Department 30, Treasurer?
I motion
Come
to
on.
accept that.
Second?
I'll second.
And if there's no discussion, all those in favor? General assistance. Which is down just a little bit. And do I have a motion to accept 37,437 for Department 87, general assistance?
Motion to accept.
I'll second.
All those in favor? I think we're caught up.
I think you're caught up. Next week, we have Public Works, Transfer, and Municipal Buildings. Only three, because I think it will take us a good charge of time in conversation.
Typically, it's a biggie, yeah?
Yeah, well, you get two big ones there together, and municipal buildings, we may be able to, it will be fairly straightforward. I don't think there's a lot of extra new stuff in there this year. Same spiel I think I've already told you a couple times, our buildings are not new, they're getting older, and we're gonna have repairs we need to continue to do. At some point, we need to look at our heating systems at the library that should have been updated several years ago and replace the cast iron pipes with something that was in today's world that we can actually get for components. Our heating system here is constantly giving some problems, but it's not a $5,000 repair. We're tens of thousands of dollars to get into the attic to do the heating system here. But- And we got, at some point, we gotta do something with the library, the outside, the wood boards up there. Do we keep painting them, or do we put some vinyl up, or something that looks decent, but
What happens to that building when the town is through with it?
I don't know. I mean, we'll have to talk about that in that conversation.
We
We-
do-
we own
From
the
what I
building.
Is the
understand,
town
now, we,
owned?
we,
Yeah, that's what
we
I-
could use that as long as it's a library. And if we don't, if it's not a library, do the owners take it over? I mean, I don't know.
Do we not own that building?
I have no idea.
We have,
I thought we owned the building, so.
I thought we
Be on
owned
our-
the book.
It would be on our asset list.
I don't know. I thought it was a funky thing. I mean, as long as it's a library, it's ours, but if it's not a library, it's not
I
ours.
thought there was some agreement
That's what I,
that they
that's,
had with the family that owned it or something.
that's what I understood.
Yeah.
Not aware of that.
Yeah.
No.
I'll check with Julie, I don't know.
We can find out.
Yeah,
We'll have the library trustee in the room talk to Julie.
Yeah,
That's
I'll have
right.
to find out. Yep.
We'll ask. I don't know. We'll have to learn about that, but.
Yeah, I was just thinking it would be on our fixed asset list
Yep.
as well,
Yeah.
which I was working on that too.
And then the following week, we move into capital and miscellaneous, anything we miss in old home days. I was kind of hoping that if we have time, when you're, maybe on the 13th, recreation will be here that night.
yeah,
But if we have time to have more conversation about public works,
yeah.
unless you get into it next week, but talk more about the building and planning for the future.
Yep.
Because
No,
I think we need to have that
the discussion
conversation.
needs to be had. There's no
I
question.
mean, obviously, you're aware that we got the contract price in for the plowing next year, which is up $168,000. While we have one truck in capital this year for a $550, not to get ahead here, but we can certainly talk about it again in a couple weeks, but we can't have a fleet of trucks without a place to put them and, to do work with them, and it doesn't make sense to put them now until we're ready to really launch.
Pretty big rabbit hole once you start getting into it, but I think it
But we-
needs to be done.
But we're gonna have a bigger issue, right, but the issue we have is that the unknown in the future, right now is $728,000, and up, 3% each year for the contract. But at some point, if we're only having one bidding person, one company bidding on it today, what happens in 5 years if this company isn't wanting to plow snow?
It's a question I asked Gary 5
And,
years ago.
so at least if we have, let's just say hypothetically, if we hopefully are in a position that in 3 years, that we can have 4 plow trucks on the road and still put out a bid, say, hey, and does John want to submit a bid to plow 11 miles of road? Then so be it. I think we're still going to need to do that. But we don't know what 10 years from now will be. We may not have that. It's hard to find people today, and to try to control those costs. I think the question has come up, what do those employees that we're going to have to hire for extra drivers for the winter months, what do they do in the summer? Well, I think Jason said we'll get into that as we move forward, but whether they're patching or doing road work or ditching or cutting brush, we have that new sidewalk machine that does mowing. So you're going to have somebody in the mower, whether it's the same person or you rotate a couple people through the mower for the summer, excuse me, but that's going to allocate somebody. Now, yes, you'll have other people, but there's other work that can be done town-wide. And maybe all the trucks will be running, maybe they won't be, but, cycle the trucks, making sure they're being used in the summer months as well. But we have to have that conversation.
No, I think it's important to have.
We've got some initial estimates on the building. A turnkey package building, 12,000 square feet, is $2.7 million.
How big is the building Buxton built? How big is Buxton's building?
10,000.
Which they say is too small now.
We would, and you walk in there and they got stuff piled in the way, but it's because they have, the cutting edges are in the middle of the floor, and they have, painted out marks on the floor that don't trip over this because it's in the way. But to get the trucks inside with a wash bay, but yeah, 2.7 was with a small bathroom, office area, a break room. Break room was big enough you put a couple cots, I guess, if they wanted to stay overnight, which, like last night, if they're going to go back over this past week, if we have a multiple day event, it gives them a spot to crash that if they need to take a 40-minute nap or whatever, because we should have that spot. And we just don't have it today. if you get an opportunity, you should take a look at the facility
Mhm.
that we have today. Jason does have money in there for a new roof on the old salt shed building in his
Right.
budget, because there's a lot of holes in it now,
Mhm.
and they're using it for some storage. Jason put up some shelving for storage. Great use of the space, but, you know, and down the road, obviously that building will still be used for storage, because we need that place to put stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. We've outgrown it.
Mhm.
And the little shed they have on the side, when they have more, mice urine and urine coming through the ceiling from the animals that are in there, it's not appropriate.
No.
We're done. We need to move forward.
Sure.
What is the snowplow contract? Is it 3 years with the 2-year extension, or just 3 years?
No, 3 with up to a 2-year extension.
Okay. So
To
if
be
you take
renewed.
the 728 plus you add sand and salt that we already paid for.
Correct.
You're getting close to $1 million a year, right? 900,000?
Yeah, you're close to $1 million. And I think on year 3, I don't have the contract in front of me, but you're 760 in that ballpark for the contract on year 3. And we've put some language in there that I think that the contractor is okay with at this point, but in year 3 to renegotiate, as long as we let them know in January of 2025, if our intention is to move forward with any plowing, that we could do up to 2 routes. And he was trying to protect, because if he makes commitments now,
Yeah.
that he needs to make sure he's watching that.
Mhm.
But that we couldn't, we can't come in in year 3 and put 4 trucks in and cut it in half.
Mhm.
And I don't think we won't be in that position either, because the time will start ticking as we move forward. But if we go with a design building, once we do the education component, which we're going to have to do a lot of,
Right.
and explain why it makes sense and what we need to be looking at for the future. I mean, people obviously today, we think, well, we don't need to do it today. Well, we may not need all of that space today, but we need a lot of it. And moving forward, we don't know what the unknown is, and we need to make sure we're in a position that we can take care of business.
Right.
And today we can't. It's kind of scary if you
I think
ask
it
me.
I think it's certainly something that needs to be done. And doing it right is, God, just as important, if not more important, because I look at your building and the dormitories, I'm like, I understand it was a big nut when we got it done, but could have done just a few things differently that would have made the quality of life for those guys a lot better.
And probably would have made it a 30-year building versus making it a 1-year
Yes.
building.
Yes.
And let's not, and that was when we looked at Buxton, and Buxton's first thing says, this building is too small at 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
How many trucks do they have in there?
8,
8 trucks.
7 or 8,
Mhm.
to the ballpark.
Do they have the wash bay?
They have a wash bay.
Do they?
How many miles of road are they doing? Is it the same as it? I would assume.
No, it was different. I don't remember what it was. He told us.
Mhm.
I don't know if it was 77.
Okay, so
It,
comparable.
it was close, but
Yeah.
it's in that ballpark.
How many miles do we have?
65?
See,
67.
yeah, it's in that 60,
Yeah.
65, 68. Jason knows that number. Jason knows that one.
Yes.
I have it written down in the office someplace on a piece of paper. He's giving me notes for that, but it's in that ballpark. And each plow route's about 10 to 12 miles. I think Buxton pushes a little bit more on some of their mileage, I think, because of some of their routes. But
Mhm.
and as preliminary numbers, we were trying to look at it. How many tandem axle trucks do you need versus single axle trucks, and front end loaders versus a smaller truck. But I know Jason's. Yeah, I'm talking way outside of my league. That's Jason.
Yeah, this could be Jason's.
That's Jason.
Jason's
Well, I just think it'll
forte.
be better. I think we'll have more control over the use of product and
Absolutely.
things like that.
And I think they do a great job, don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but it's having some of that, and yes, there's a cost.
Mhm.
But what's our cost if we don't have somebody? What do we do?
Phone's gonna be ringing.
But what do we, yeah, right.
Yeah.
But what do we do, if we're not prepared? If we
Yeah.
sit back and
Right.
wait and say, well, somebody will get it. We don't know if there'll be somebody else bidding on this down the
I
road.
think one of your big benefits that will need to be presented to the voters is is that, we're spending $1 million a year right now. And I think I think that the average taxpayer would be dumbstruck if they knew that we're spending $1 million a year.
It's pretty close.
Getting our
For the
roads-
winter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for the
just
winter
getting our
budget.
roads plowed.
Yeah.
And if we take hypothetically, $2.7 million building, and we bond that out for whatever whatever either you or the board feels,
What is the
20
longest
years.
you can go out?
What's that?
What is the longest that you can
I
move
don't
it
know.
forward?
I think we go 30 years on a bond, but, and again, I would say that Waterboro's not dissolving tomorrow, so I think we're okay, but I'm not sure a metal building is a 30-year structure that you want to be pushing out that far.
Right.
Right.
Maybe 20 years, which I think you probably could get away with. But, so what are you looking at? 250, 300,000 a year just for the building? Which your salt shed's going to be paid off soon. I think we have one more year, and then that's going to be done. So hopefully we can look to the future and say we replace that with that building. So.
Okay.
Same thing with like the trash truck, and we have other expenses, trash truck, and the order time we do the same. We should do the same thing that we did with the ambulances. Try to get it. If we can get it, we can do payment in the rears, or and that's how I propose it in the CIP. You'll see is that we originally had the money in there for this year, but then proposal was to move it out a year just to spread those dollars out. We already have budgeted this year, and finding those trucks is a challenge. We found a couple of them available, but all your vehicles are 12 months out for those commercial chassis, and probably even ordering a regular pickup truck for all I know. But if we can order that or find one, then we could do payment in the rears. We have price shopped in most recent times. What is the bank? Gorham Leasing Group has been very competitive with pricing. I think they offer the municipal lease purchase, which is the same type of thing as a conventional loan, but we have to have a legal opinion. So, and they do a term for if you do it 4 years, which then your transfer station truck will be paid off next year. So then, or this year, this year coming up. That means you'll be going into the next payment. So.
Okay. Quick.
You better vote on the minutes.
Oh, we got to approve Laura's fine minutes of our last meeting. I don't have them.
I already read them.
I read them at home.
January 19th was the date.
I know, you're very diligent. I got them twice. And neither one of them is with me right now.
Oh, yeah, I didn't print them off because I did send them to the computer, sorry.
Well, without seeing them in front of me, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
You can't vote because you weren't here, sorry.
That's right.
Lucky you.
Okay,
Stop
Thank you.
getting this track.
we're good.
So next Monday night,
Next Monday night, 4:30, with
We have to motion to adjourn.
Josh and Jason.
yep.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, we are good.